name is Sarah and today I am doing my November reading wrap-up. November wasn't the best reading month for me. I only ended up reading 5 books, but as you may have noticed, I'm not in my usual bookish filming location because I'm in a hotel room in Seoul. I'm here with the bookish Brie, who is right behind me doing some journaling and cracking up, so that's fun. But basically, we are here currently on vacation. We've been here for 7 days. We've got 7 more to go. And that's really one of the reasons why I didn't read that many books in November. Another reason was because I was also participating in NaNoWriMo and I finally finished the first draft of my middle grade adventure novel. I am so excited. I'm really happy with how the first draft panned out and I cannot wait to begin edits on it. So while I didn't read as many books as I normally do during November, I'm still happy with the 5 I read. I enjoyed the majority of them, and that's really what counts. So without further ado, let's get into what I read last month. The first book I read in November was Our Stop, which is a new novel that's just been released. I mean, I was really excited to read this book because of that gorgeous pink and yellow cover, and my friend Lucy and I were planning on buddy reading this book, but unfortunately, I did not like it. I thought being a cute contemporary and it was a meet cute and kind of a love story, it'd be right up my alley, but I just did not enjoy it. I think the main reason why I didn't enjoy this book was because it felt very straight, and I've been reading a lot of queer books recently and it's just like this woman falling for this guy and like there's no queer characters and I'm like, wow, where are my people at? Rude. So I really wasn't a fan of it because of that aspect, but it just felt like kind of cheesy a lot of the time, which I'm not here for. It really felt as though the author was pushing her agenda in a lot of the messages and it didn't really feel natural in the course of the narrative. Like she was like, oh, this is my political opinion, this is my opinion on this and this and this, and I'm like, I just want to see the story. I want to see this adorable meet cute between these 2 characters, and it just took way too long. Like I was expecting them to meet maybe like a third of the way into the book and it just didn't happen for ages, like almost until the end, and I was just not here for that. If you're gonna be a book about a meet cute, can you at least like get the 2 characters to meet and actually talk? It's not okay. Unfortunately, my friend Lucy didn't enjoy this book either, and she's normally a fan of contemporaries as well. So I think that our opinion may be a little bit unanimous on this one. I'm looking forward to seeing what you think of it, but I had high hopes and unfortunately they weren't met. The next book I read in November was Frankly in Love by David Yoon. This one was a reread for me because it was our November book of the month here at the YA room and I really loved it. I read this book back in September, I think, and I really enjoyed it when I first read it, but when I found out that we were going to be reading this book as part of the book club, I decided that I would of course reread it because I wanted to be super fresh and be opinionated at the book meet, so it was a good decision to reread it. If you don't know, Frankly in Love is a book about a Korean American boy who has immigrant parents and his parents really want him to date a Korean girl. But when he starts to have this crush on this American girl at school, he decides to fake date one of his Korean friends to make his parents happy. That's kind of the summary that's been going around the internet for this book, and that really sums up the first half of this book, but the second half is a lot more complex. It talks about racism and illness and loss, and it really takes a sudden turn from that cute story we see in the beginning to what it actually ends up being. This book isn't just a cute contemporary that you can read and forget about. I've read this book twice and I still haven't stopped thinking about it. While I realized on my second read of this book that I didn't really like the love interests as much as I initially thought I did, I still rated this book 5 out of 5. Still really enjoyed it, still highly recommend it if you're looking to pick up a book with a more diverse cast than the standard white American casts we normally see. I definitely recommend picking up Frankly in Love. The next book I read in November was Euphoria Kids by Alison Evans. This is an upcoming 2020 YA release and I was so excited to get my hands on an arc of this book. I had been so excited to read Euphoria Kids ever since I read Highway Buddies and Alison had been talking about this new book they were working on, So when I finally got the chance to sit down and read it, I just devoured this book. Honestly, I'd even go so far as to say this is my favorite book that Allison has written. It's really beautiful and whimsical and queer, and it just feels like a warm hug. Like, that's the best way I can describe it. I read this book mostly while I was drinking tea outside in the garden, and that's really the best atmosphere for this book. It's queer and it's got magic and it's about plants and witches, and it's just incredible. Honestly, that's the best way I can describe it. I don't want to give too much away because it is an upcoming release, but I just want to say that I absolutely loved it. If it isn't already on your TBR, you should definitely add it. Oh my god, Allison, it's just such an incredible book. Oh my god, I'm lost for words. It's so amazing. I loved it. The next book I read during November was Missing Presumed Dead, which is a book that I've been wanting to read for ages. It was actually on my Halloween TBR, but I didn't get the chance to read it, so I finished it in November. As you may expect, this is a fairly spooky book. It's perfect for the Halloween season, and I absolutely adored it. You'll know that I'm a massive fan of everything creepy and spooky, so Missing Presumed Dead was right up my alley. It's about angry queer girls and ghosts and murder, and it's just set against this amazing dark kind of gritty backdrop, and it's amazing. I fell in love with this book as soon as they started talking about morgues and dead bodies, and it was just incredible. It's everything I could have wanted from a book. Basically, this book is about a girl who can touch people and then she realizes how they're going to die. She also has the ability to see ghosts, and one day she bumps into this girl and sees that she's going to die really brutally later that night. From there, the angry ghost of this girl who died has kind of lingered around her, and together they try and solve the string of murders that has been going on in their city. This really is an unputdownable novel. I really wanted to know how it was going to end, and I just raced through it. So if you're a fan of everything spooky and a little bit scary and you're ready to be shaken to the core, I would definitely recommend this book. It's great. And finally, the last book I read in November was Scythe by Neil Shusterman. This was another reread for me. I read this book when it first came out a couple of years ago. I know that the third one just came out, so this is why I'm rereading it. I want to finally finish this series. I want to tick that off my TBR, and hopefully I can do that before the end of the year. If you don't know, Scythe is about this futuristic human society where all of the problems in the world have been solved. There's no more hunger, there's no more death or illness, but because of that there's overpopulation, and these people called scythes have to go around and strategically kill people. It's creepy, it's great, I loved it. I am fascinated by everything dystopian and all the possibilities of things that could go on in this world. So Scythe was really interesting to kind of ponder what would actually happen if we learned how to cure all of the illnesses that people face. This book is basically about two teens, a boy and a girl, who are chosen by this one particular scythe to be his apprentice and to study how to become a scythe. They have to go along with the scythe and learn his ways and kind of study how to become like him. I really loved this book when I read it first time around, and second time was no different. I actually listened to the audiobook this time and I really enjoyed that experience. I thought that the narrator was great, and I just flew through this one again, and I'm so excited to read the second book in the series. So those are the 5 books I read during November. I really enjoyed the majority of them. There was only one that was slightly disappointing, but on the whole it was a pretty good reading month. While I didn't read as many books as I hoped to, and I'm probably not going to reach my Goodreads goal for 2019, I'm still very happy with the amount that I've achieved so far.
Tell Sarah you love her in the comments.
Thanks. Thank you. But that is it for today's video. If you've read any of these books, do let me know what you thought of them. If they're on your TBR, I would love to know. And how close are you to finishing your 2019 Goodreads goal? That's also a thing we should talk about.
Bye!